Yeah, but think about
don't
Adam,
have the kids.
Half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families, have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a check.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't. And where do they
why
end
do
up?
Armenians have them?
But where they end up is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those groups. Why those two groups don't have access?
Well, a lot of. Just happens to be that we can
so
talk
they're
about.
Flawed?
This. No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
their word. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay,
not.
Do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh,
but
so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but I'm
why did you
giving
bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to them?
There are a lot of issues, and that the communities are struggling. A lot
why
of new
are they
immigrants.
struggling?
A lot of different reasons. Lack of
Hispanics
opportunity.
have been here. Blacks have been here longer than we've been here.
Well, we can surmise.
What about Asians? They were put in internment camps.
Yeah, in fact, it all initiated out of San Francisco, and the Chinese Exclusion Act came out of progressive San Francisco.
Are they the check cashing
places? A lot of Asians certainly do.
Oh, so why don't you conclude them?
The only reason why is the magnitude.
There's so many more.
The magnitude in percentage
But there's no way to figure out how that happened.
Africa. We could talk about it. You know what I'm dealing with? I don't want to have a sociological debate.
Sure, why would you?
No, here's why.
Why would you want to do that? Because the person from the Times wouldn't write good things about you if you did that.
No, that's not the case because I want to deal with reality. No.
You want to deal with reality.
I want to deal with the reality of people that are struggling, people are suffering. I want to deal with the problems in a pragmatic way.
Why are they struggling and suffering?
Want an idea. We can hold hands and surmise about all these underlying reasons.
I don't want to do that. I want to know why they're struggling. Why are they struggling?
A lot of folks are struggling because they can't find jobs.
Why blacks and
because
Hispanics?
They're working.
Why blacks and Hispanics?
Across the board, all socioeconomic.
Okay, so everybody's
struggling.
So Asians are suffering just as much as blacks.
The face of welfare is not an African American family.
So it's Asian, Jewish, it's all of them.
Caucasian. It's a lot of folks in society. A lot of folks are struggling.
Okay,
but a lot of folks are struggling.
So if I go down to the check cashing place, lots of Jews and Asians.
There are.
Okay.
No, I mean,
just checking you. Just checking the math.
Absolute fact.
I'm just wondering why you singled those two out.
Because the percentages, and I think these things matter, are profound.
So why? That's my question.
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why. And you want to go back to issues of racism? I'll do that. You want to go back to the debate we're having about the Voting Rights Act and the fact the Supreme Court wants to take away Section 5?
What about their families?
You want to
talk
about
their families?
But I understand that. Families are incredibly important. That's certainly part of it.
Yeah,
and people have to be responsible.
It's a very small part of it. It's minuscule.
It's a big part of it.
Oh, big.
It is a big part.
Oh, well, why don't you guys talk about that then if it's a big part?
I just brought it up.
It's a big part. It's a big part. It's a big part that you never talk about?
I do talk about it.
No one on your side talks about that big part.
I think President Obama himself brings it up over and over again. Go back to his campaign speeches.
Sure.
He's given some remarkable speeches of the importance of fathers in the context of the African American.
You got to be a hero.
Struggle.
You got to be a hero to raise your kid.
No, well, you have to
be
responsible
adult. It takes courage to raise a kid. I heard his speech. It takes courage, Gavin.
I don't know about courage.
That's what your president said.
No, but to his credit, he's given some eloquent speeches.
Let's hear what he says. It says it takes courage.
And will work to strengthen families by removing the financial deterrence to marriage for low-income couples, and do more to encourage fatherhood. Because what makes you a man isn't the ability to conceive a child.
That's right.
It's having the courage to raise one.
Courage.
Yeah, I don't know if I get your point.
Courage.
But at least he made the point that I imagine you accept that it's easy to have one.
Yes.
But you've got to actually step up and be a man and actually raise one. And he probably used. I think that's what
Gavin,
ultimately.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anybody can eat at an IHOP. It takes courage to pay the bill.
I don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It takes
By the way,
courage to stay there and pay that bill.
This is the president has spoken not at his State of the Union, as you just exampled, but he's spoken about this in much more comprehensive and eloquent terms.
Yeah.
And I think powerfully so.
Yeah.
And I think principally so. The issues,
this is his latest one.
But we want to go to the issue of race as it relates to the issues of poverty. And what we had in the redevelopment agencies and concentration of poverty in public housing and all of these things start to lead to why. The answer to your question, why is it concentrated in the African American community?
Why?
Looking at that history, one cannot exclude that reality. I just think that's naive to suggest that those things don't matter. When families were broken up.
How about the Jews? No problems in the past?
Yeah. No, of course. Every community's got their struggles.
Who's had it worse?
Even the Irish had struggles.
Who do you think had it worse?
I get it. But
what about the Jews? They seem to be. Why are the Jews doing well?
You know what? In
Why?
1967, blacks couldn't even marry whites in this country. Not 1927. In 16 states, they were denied because people use religious arguments to deny people
Jews
interracial
got put in ovens and
I understand, and it's disgraceful.
Okay, so
and that's why, and it's completely fair game.
How are the Jews doing now?
I mean, a lot of Jewish families doing well. A lot of families struggling.
Really?
Absolutely.
At the Czech place?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll
go down to the Czech place.
Across the board, people are struggling.
All right,
of course.
Everyone's
struggling. Look at the unemployment lines.
A lot of Jews.
It includes Americans of all types, all races, all ethnicities, all sexual orientations.
They're all the same.
My gosh.
That's right.
But, and we could talk about the issues in the Latino community, again, by separating the challenges associated with English as a second language for a lot of folks.
Sure.
The issues of poverty and issues
everyone
related
that came
to that.
here spoke perfect English.
No, I understand that. I got it. I mean, I get your world, Adam, which is a little bit more clean-cut and idealistic, a little less pragmatic in terms of the world that
it's
the rest
wildly
of us are living.
pragmatic.
Well,
they have a problem with family. They have a problem with they don't focus on education. That will get them out of the problem they're in.
On education? I don't think there's any community that cares more about education than the Latino community.
Wow.
I don't know.
Check those test scores.
No, people are. I mean, come on, that's not fair. They care.
Not fair.
Look at this school system. Look how lousy the system is.
Okay.
Look how lousy the system is.
The system sucks,
I don't care who
but it
goes
doesn't
in that
suck
system.
if you have parents that are together and put an emphasis on education.
They care deeply about education, care deeply about health care,
they
deeply
care about
these
opportunities. Okay. Well, then why do some groups do so much better?
I mean, what do you mean by groups? Almost everybody's struggling in some way, shape, or form
There's a huge
in this macroeconomic
difference in academic performance between Asians and Hispanics. Yes or no?
There's certainly examples within the Asian community.
Yes or no?
No, within the Asian community, there are examples, Chinese community in particular, other members of the Asian community, South Korean, Koreans generally. That's generally true.
So, okay. Why is it true?
You know what? I'm not a sociologist. I'm not someone. Perhaps you can explain why.
Well, I've told you why.
Why?
They have a family that puts an emphasis on education.
Which is a noble thing. And a lot of Latinos have families that put emphasis on education.
But not enough.
African Americans have put emphasis
but not
on
enough. Their families are broken up. Okay. Gavin, I get it. Everything's the same.
Not everything.
Everything's the same.
It's a human condition.
You brought up Hispanic and blacks.
Because the percentages are challenging.
Because the families are broken up.
Well, I think the issue of family is profoundly important.
Thank you.
And I agree with you.
Okay.
As I did
well, you can't
when we
not
began
agree
the conversation.
With me. It's the number one problem they're having.
I think it's among the challenges.
Okay.
I don't think it's the number one.
What's the number one problem?
I think there are a lot of challenges.
What's the number one?
I don't know. I've not countenanced and
Gavin,
organized 1, 2,
the
3,
family
4,
is
5,
not the
6,
number one
7,
problem
8,
in the
9,
black
10.
community. What is the number one?
There are a lot of problems in the African American community.
But that one's not the number one.
One could make that argument.
Maybe it is number one then.
I'm not here to make that determination.
Listen,
I think there's
Gavin,
a lot of issues.
Okay.
No, but I appreciate your absolute conviction and certainty and your righteousness.
I know what the
versus
problem
people
is.
that but apparently others that have
you
points
know what
of
it
view
is too.
Don't necessarily know.
You know what it is.
I don't
too.
know if I accept. I'm willing to.
You know what it
give
is
you
too,
latitude.
but you're not going to get any
Other
votes
people.
if you say anything.
That's not why I'm
Bill
not saying
Cosby
it.
knew what it was.
He
ain't getting any votes now.
That's not about votes for me. I didn't get into this for votes. I want to do the damn right thing. I don't like these check cashing places. I don't like the payday
I don't
lenders.
like them either.
I don't like the predatory nature of people that take advantage of poor folks.
I don't
like
it
folks
either.
talking. You know what I don't like, Adam? I don't like folks talking about some poor soul that's here trying to take care of their family and calling them some illegal punk that should be pulled over by the CHP because they're trying to make a go selling their flowers. I care about these damn people. These are human beings.
All right, but here's the deal. If you cared about them...
But I don't want to use the language that incites and diminishes human wealth.
I said
human worth.
I don't need the CHP guys pulling over the people that are paying their taxes versus taking people that are engaged in illegal activity off the streets. That's number one. Number two,
President Obama has incarcerated more immigrants than any president in history, so the facts don't support your assertion.
If you really cared about these people, you'd focus on the real problem.
Which is?
Families.
Families are profoundly important.
Okay.
And
that's
and
where
we
the
do
answer
care
lies.
about families.
And that's the answer.
I agree. I don't know. I wish it was that simple,
It
but
is
God
that
bless
simple.
you. I think it's absolutely critical. I agree with you. We're not denying that.
It's simple. Father, stay at home, raise your family, do your homework with your kids, put an emphasis on education, like the Jews.